A Treatise of Satan's Temptations. By Richard Gilpin. A discourse of the malice, power, cruelty and diligence of Satan. Of his cunning in temptation in the general. Of his method of tempting to sin. Second part of chapter 2. 3. Thirdly, this malice is the result of that curse laid upon Satan, Genesis 3:15, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between her seed and thy seed. Which implies, 1. A great enmity, and some render it, implacable enmities. 2. A lasting enmity, such as should continue as long as the curse should last. 3. That this should be his work and exercise, to prosecute and be prosecuted with this enmity, so that it shows the devil's whole mind and desire is in this work, and that he is wedded on by the opposing enmity, which he meets withal. It is the work of his curse, of his place, of his revenge, and that wherein all the delight he is capable of is placed. In that part of the curse, dust shall be thy meat. It is implied, if some interpret right, that if Satan can be said to have any delight or ease in his condition, it is in the eating of this dust, the exercise of this enmity. No wonder, then, if Christ speak of his desires and solicitations with God to have a liberty and commission for this work, Satan hath desired to have thee, that he may winnow thee, Luke 22:31. That this curse relates not only to the serpent, who was the instrument, but also to Satan, who was the agent, is agreed by all almost. That it was not the serpent alone, but the devil speaking by it, is evinced from its speaking and reasoning. And that the curse reached further than a natural enmity, between a serpent and a man, is as evident, in that Christ is expressly held forth, as giving the full accomplishment of this curse against Satan, 1 John 3:8. The devil sinneth from the beginning, for this purpose was the Son of God manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil, which is a clear exposition and periphrasis of the woman's seed bruising the serpent's head. 4. Fourthly, I shall add to this some few instances of Satan's malice, by which it will appear to be great. 1. First, that malice must needs be great, which shows itself where there is such a load of anguish and horror, that lies upon him. He is now reserved in chains of darkness in hell, 2 Peter 2:4. He is in hell, a place of torment, or, which is all one, hell is in him. He carries it about him in his conscience, which, by God's decree, binds him to his horror like a chain. It is scarce imaginable that he should have a thought free from the contemplation of his own misery, to spend in a malicious pursuit of man. What can we think less of it than a desperate madness and revenge against God, wherein he shows his rage against heaven, and hunts after our blood as for a little water to cool his tongue, and when he finds his hand too short to pull the Almighty out of his throne, he endeavors, panther-like, to tear his image in man, and to put man, created after his image, upon blaspheming and dishonoring his Maker. 2. Secondly, that malice must needs be great that seeks its own fuel, and provides or begs its own occasions, and those such as give no proper provocation to his anger. Of this temper is his malice. He did thus with Job, he begs the commission, calumniates Job upon unjust surmises. Presseth still for a further power to hurt him, insomuch that God expressly stints and bounds him, which shows how boundless he would have been if left to his own will, and gives him at last an open check, Job 2:3, wherein he lays open the malice of his heart in three things: 1. His own pressing urgency, thou movest me. 2. His destructive fury, no less would serve than Job's utter destruction. 3. Job's innocency, all this without cause, thou movest me to destroy him without cause. 3. Thirdly, that malice must needs be great that will pursue a small matter. What small game will the devil play rather than altogether sit out? If he can but trouble, or puzzle, or affright, yet that he will do, rather than nothing, if he can, like an adder in the path, but bite the heel, Genesis 49:17, though his head be bruised for it, he will notwithstanding busy himself in it. 4. Fourthly, that malice must be great which will put itself forth where it knows it can prevail nothing, but is certain of a disappointment. Thus did Satan tempt Christ. Those speeches, if thou be the Son of God, do not imply any doubt in Satan. He knew what was prophesied of Christ, and what had been declared from heaven in testification of him, so that he could not, but be certain he was God in man. And yet what base unworthy temptations doth he lay before him, as to fall down and worship him? Was it that Satan thought to prevail against him? No surely, but such was his malice, that he would put an affront upon him, though he knew he could not prevail against him. 5. Fifthly, the malice of wicked men is an argument of Satan's great malice. They have an antipathy against the righteous, as the wolf against the sheep, and upon that very ground, that they are called out of the world. How great this fury is, all ages have testified. This hath brought forth discord, revilings, slanders, imprisonments, spoiling of goods, banishments, persecutions, tortures, cruel deaths, as burning, racking, tearing, sawing asunder, and whatever the wit of man could devise for a satisfaction to those implacable, furious, murderous minds. And yet all this is done to men of the same image and lineage with themselves, of the same religion with themselves, as to the main, nay, sometime to men of their own kindred, their own flesh and blood, and all to those that would live peaceably in the land. What shall we say to these things? How come men to put on a savage nature, to act the part of lions, leopards, tigers, if not much worse? The reason of all we have, John 8:54, ye are of your father the devil, he was a murderer from the beginning, as also Genesis 3:15, I will put enmity between her seed and thy seed, so that all this shows what malice is in Satan's heart, who urgeth and provokes his instruments to such bloody hatreds. Hence whoever were the agents, Revelation 2:10, in imprisoning the saints, the malice of Satan and stirring them up to it, makes him become the author of it. Satan shall cast some of you into prison. Thanks.